The Trial of Chicago 7 is a 2020 courtroom legal drama, the second film directed by Aaron Sorkin, creator of The West Wing and writer of The Social Network, A Few Good Men, and Moneyball. Google says that the film is based on the infamous 1969 trial of 7 defendants charged by the federal government with conspiracy and more, arising from the counterculture protests in Chicago at the 1968 Democratic National Convention. The trial transfixed the nation and sparked a conversation about mayhem intended to undermine the US government. I don't really know what that means. I had no idea what the film was about going in, and I have no knowledge of what happened, but I do just love a good courtroom drama. In fact, I was actually shocked to learn that some of the more eyebrow-raising and sometimes farcical moments in the film were not only true and actually happened, but were toned down for the film. Like one part where a defendant in a trial is gagged, literally gagged, and chained in a courtroom. In the film it happens for less than a day, but in real life it happened for several. The film was made for $35 million and is the kind of mid-budget, mature, adult-orientated drama that we see less and less of in mainstream Hollywood and more of on streaming platforms such as Netflix and Amazon, and I commend Netflix for financing projects like these. The film kicks off with scenes showing each of the characters who would go on to become defendants in the trial, preparing themselves to attend the Democratic National Convention. It's a slick, fast-paced opening segment with suave editing, and after the title credits show up, the film immediately jumps to the trial, so we're thrown straight into it. But don't let that scare you if you have no prior knowledge of the events in the film, because the movie goes on to explain just why everyone is on trial, and it does so entertainingly through flashbacks that are strategically placed throughout the film to not only provide information in a way that does not feel exposition heavy, but which also injects mood and maintained the swift pacing of the film. The movie is edited in such a way that it makes you swell with anger and fury at all the right moments, breathe a sigh of relief at the right times, and it knows when to sprinkle in a bit of levity with some jokes at the right moments. It's not particularly deep, it's pretty straightforward and a little bit cheesy at times, but that works in favour of the film because it's essentially just a really entertaining film for grown-ups. A few little things I found a little difficult was that, first of all, I don't know why, maybe it was the actors they chose, many of whom are high profile, or possibly the type of camera they chose to shoot the film with, or maybe the costume design like Rylance's weird hairpiece. But I struggled to get out of the feeling that I was watching people dress up in period costumes and deliver lines. I mean, the acting was brilliant, so it's weird that I felt this way, but it felt like a play at times, with everyone playing dress-up. Also, almost all of the cast had this quick, quirky way of talking where they would have snarky back and forth with each other and put down one-liners, kind of like Marvel superhero movies, and I did wonder, would the people really have talked that way? But you know what, who cares, I just ran with it. The dialogue was good, it was funny, why not? No need to be so cynical when watching a movie. The cast is really stacked. The film has got the likes of Eddie Redmayne, Sacha Baron Cohen, John Carroll Lynch, Mark Rylance, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Michael Keaton, and Frank Langella, all of whom deliver. By the way, I recently watched another courtroom drama called A Civil Action with Robert Duvall, and there were some scenes where I thought Redmayne looked strikingly similar to Duvall in terms of his facial structure. I think he could be a good pick to play a young Duvall in that upcoming film about the making of The Godfather. In spite of an ensemble cast, the film feels focused and tightly wound. It's sharp and feels on the ball. Like the best courtroom dramas, it keeps your eyes glued to the screen and puts the emphasis on the word drama, which it showcases well. I guess the film is politically charged. I don't know if this film is going to generate a boring left-wing versus right-wing argument, but I didn't feel it was trying to be politically correct, and I'm happy to report that I came away from it enjoying a pretty interesting and cool drama. Rather than politics per se, I felt the film was more focused on political corruption, gamesmanship in the courtroom, suppression and subjugation in a scenario where the system was against the protagonists from the off, and the trial was set up to generate a manufactured outcome. You can feel your moral compass being poked at with the injustice depicted in the film from those who are supposed to provide it, and as such, the film is able to stir up all sorts of emotions and provides a fitting payoff. This is one of those films that intercuts its narrative with archive footage from real protests and events, and it's to good effect and adds to whatever mood the filmmakers were attempting to evoke. In general, the tone of the movie isn't as somber and heavy as you might expect given the subject matter about, the Vietnam War and injustice and all of that. It's actually quite a fast-paced and quirky film. The events in the film are sometimes farcical, what with the movie showcasing what essentially was a circus of a court, but the film itself never dives off the deep end into farcical territory. Although it does have a bit of a sappy Spielberg-esque ending, rather though, it is a pretty gripping and straightforward, solid 2 hours worth of entertainment. I give it a 7, maybe 8 out of 10.